Advancing security, our top story today or segment is hotel security and staff go too far with a trespasser. Unfortunately, if I'm not mistaken, the gentleman passed away. We're going to look more deeper into that and talk about it. Then we have some other things to react to that I think is going to be important in general for the security diaspora on YouTube. And, we're going to react to different topics and entertain you at the same time. So you find value in this type of content, which I think I'm the only guy on YouTube doing this type of reaction for security so far, and this length as well. Press like and subscribe if you haven't. Let's switch it over. And again, I apologize for my slowness with StreamYard. It's new software for me.
Issue.
Okay, you gotta go.
You can't tell me why I can and can't come.
You gotta go, bro.
You really gonna fight me?
With you, bro.
You really gonna fight me?
I'm not gonna play with you.
You really gonna fight me?
Get up out of here.
I can go anywhere I want to.
You're gonna leave.
I can go anywhere.
You're gonna leave, bro.
Text me if you want to.
Well, you try it.
Text me if you want to.
Yeah.
Up to that point of the video, mission complete for this armed security. Now let's go and we go take like the play-by-play, like they say in football. We don't know what started this at all, right, guys? This is just some guy most likely just trying to go viral. I don't know.
Let's start an issue.
Maybe there was an issue. I do not know. We don't have all the details. Let's see how this is going down. Security has his hand on his left side.
Issue.
I don't know if that's pepper spray he has there or that's probably his baton right there. That's what it looks like to me from that angle. But he's advancing. He's moving forward. He's showing his presence. He's making eye contact with the guy he's trying to remove from the property. And the one thing I like about this guy right now, he doesn't have his hand on his holster, on his gun. Many times you see interactions with cops, law enforcement. They're just talking to the public. They're in no threat. And right away, they just have their hand right here. They do it without thinking because it's part of their training. What I like about this particular guard, he's not doing that. He's not trying to look aggressive as far as I can tell with this video, but he's showing his presence is strong, that action can be taken.
You can't tell me why I can and can't come.
Right there, he looks like he's about to raise his fist, right? He didn't bring all the way up, but he has it like ready to go. I don't know if that's a good sign, but at the same time, he is passively moving this guy back. He's moving him away as he's advancing. This guy's retreating, so I think that's perfect.
You gotta go, bro.
You really gonna fight me?
He's keeping it simple. You gotta go. I'm not playing with you. Like, this is not a joke. This is a workplace. He is armed security. He is showing that he does have authority here.
Bro,
you really gonna fight me?
I'm not gonna play with you.
You really gonna fight me?
Get up out of here.
He's pointing towards the exit.
I can go anywhere I want to.
You're gonna leave.
I can go anywhere.
You're gonna leave, bro.
Text me if you want to.
Well, you try it.
Text me if you want to.
Yeah.
Well, you tried. I don't know what he means by that, but up to this point, mission complete. The guy is gone. Now, let's get further into this.
I go anywhere I want to. Fuck you talking about?
Like I said, it's JP Morgan Chase, armed security.
What security company you work for?
4-1, motherfucker. Get off the property before I fuck you up.
This is where I think security is, like, his technique is going down, because this guy, he's already retreating, he's leaving, and he's exiting the threshold of the bank, which does offer you some protection. For all you know, they might be leaving him outside. But at the same time, I want to say something. He does see this. It sounds like a young man. It does seem, as he just wants to go viral, and his cell phone is out. So it just seems like he's just trying to cause some issues. That's another reason why I guess he didn't have his hand on his gun. Let's get into crime statistics now. When it comes to bank robberies, I think this is important. Let me see if I'm doing this correctly. So we have bank crime statistics of 2022. This was released this year. I think it was February, if I'm not mistaken. This is from FBI.gov. Here we go. They break down the crimes. They get really detailed in this way. I think it's fascinating. And the reason they can do this is because money is quantifiable, right? You can keep track of it a lot easier, right? So you have commercial banks. There's about 1,415 robberies. Not about, this is what they documented, sorry. We're not estimating here. And then there's a total of 1,612 robberies. They also break it down into burglaries and larcenies. Yeah. And they get into deeper statistics. So overall, Grant total all violations. So I did some quick math here, and just for the robbery part, not the, you know, maybe I should have done the entire thing. Give me a second. So it's 1740. 1740. I'm gonna switch over here. 1740. 1740. Right there. So we're gonna divide that by 365 days, even though not all banks are open every day. This is to get an idea of how many bank robberies are done per day. So let's say it's 4.76, which I'm gonna just round it off, and it's pretty much like there's almost 5 bank robberies a day, guys. So I find this number fascinating. Like, yo, security and banks are important, even though the money is not backed up by anything. And then you can get all conspiracy theory or whatever. So there's a chance something can happen. Let's continue into this crime statistics, because I find it fascinating how they talk about race and gender. Male, they say the male population of that year did 601 robberies, bank robberies. And then they talk about females, white females, 45. Now, as far as I'm aware, they're not talking about like groups. I didn't go too deep into this. I just want you guys to understand what can possibly happen within armed security in a bank, right? Then they have blacks. Black male is 848, while black female is 62. Hispanic male is 152. Female 9. Asian male 8. And then they have nothing for females, Asians, robbing banks. And then they have others. That could be Native Americans. That could be mixed race people, whatever. I personally don't believe in race, but whatever, man. That's just me. Now I find another thing that's fascinating. They're breaking down into days. So they got Mondays all the way to Sundays, right? And then the highest turnover for that day of robberies was Tuesdays. I don't know why Tuesday, but it was Tuesday with 353 bank robberies, right? Then you have Saturdays, 401, Sundays. Now here's the other thing. They're probably mixing in as well ATM robberies within a bank, right? Because sometimes in certain banks, the ATM is in front, and then there's another door for you to go inside the bank. All right, guys, let's get into the next video. Boom, 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 boom. This one I like because we're talking about Karens here. Karens exist in everything. Martial arts schools, Dunkin' Donuts, security working in the mall, movie theaters. They're going to exist. And I didn't know they existed until I moved out of New York. And I just changed my environment completely. So this video here, this clip is about great customer service and dealing with Karens. I give it to this young woman here. She did a great job. I cannot hear nothing.
You're acting very hostile.
I'm not. I'm asking you to
Okay, and I'm asking you. You're telling me you couldn't blend my smoothie.
take your app so I can give you your refund. You're
Okay.
holding up the line.
No, you're holding up the
You're
line.
holding up the line. Can I get?
I need you to confirm that you said.
Can I get you
Yo, she's not raising her voice and she's staying on business. She's like, you want your money? You're holding up the line. You want your money?
your refund, ma'am? Would you like your refund?
Ma'am.
I don't like to be recorded. I don't
Okay,
appreciate
but you
it.
told me that you couldn't blend my smoothie.
Can I get your card so I can?
No, not until you confirm why you couldn't make my smoothie right.
Can you give me your card so I can?
Did you hear me?
I
No.
hear you. I'm not deaf.
Okay.
I'm not. Can I get your?
I'm asking you to confirm you couldn't make my smoothie.
That's because you're being very inconsiderate to the people behind you right now, and I don't appreciate you recording me and having your phone in my face.
It's not in your face.
So it is in my face.
This is here.
So what I like about this interaction is that, like I said, the young lady, she's keeping calm and collective. She's staying on point on business. She's trying to get her to move. She's talking to her about her actions, how they're slowing down the business and how they're affecting the other people around her. That's a good technique, because many times people just have a problem with you when they really don't. But they're spitting at you. They're nonsense without noticing that they're affecting other people around them, and they're making a spectacle of themselves.
Here and you're there.
Understandable, but you're being very inconsiderate to the people behind you, and I'm just trying to.
Another thing that I like in the beginning of the video, she's like, you're being hostile. She's like, no, I'm not. Like, you want to be able to understand these keywords when you're being recorded with somebody with their cell phone. They're saying these things to get you in a trap. And if you're in security and you fall into these traps, you're getting into a lot of trouble.
To help you at the moment,
I'd like
to get your gift card, please.
Can you just give me the cash and my receipt with your name on
Your
it?
gift card?
No, ma'am.
Can I get your gift card?
No, ma'am. Just give me the cash. It's fine.
Well, your change is $10.56.
You wrote your name on the receipt?
Have a good day.
All right.
All that drama for nonsense for 1056, 1046, whatever it was. All right, next story here is, or next interaction here is an example of why maybe you should not be wearing your uniform as a security guard outside your post. Some people do get triggered. Again, I cannot hear nothing. Man.
And this Karen took it personally.
Got all that security. Huh? So just take this, keep your eyes to yourself. Put them in a teddy bear.
I'm not even bothering
You
you.
looking at me, that's bothering me. You looking at me.
Well, that's too bad.
Keep your eyes to yourself. I don't give a about that security guard.
Come up on me. Don't come up on me, okay? Don't come up on me, okay? Don't come up on me. Don't come up on me, okay? Don't come up on me. Sit your down. Sit your down.
You know what's terrible about this? When you're riding a you're riding public transportation. I'm sitting here, you're sitting there. What am I gonna look at the floor? No, if you're in front of me, I'm gonna wind up looking at you. Now I understand she's at a slight angle, but at this point, we don't know what happened in these videos. But I do find it fascinating that some people do get triggered when you have security on and you're in public and you're not working at your post. I want to recommend for security guards out there, don't wear your uniform outside of work. One, it could get dirty. Two, you could get unneeded attention, right?
Sit your down. I'm not even bothering. Sit down. Sit down. Sit down.
What
Sit
dog
down.
you talking to?
Sit down. I'm not even bothering you. I'm not even bothering you. Don't come up. Don't come up on me. I told you not to come up on me.
Pepper
I
spray her.
told you don't come up on me. Down. I'm not even bothering you. I'm not even bothering you. Don't come up. Don't come up.
I think this is great self-defense on some levels. Why? Because he's one, eyewitnesses. Two, he has a video recording. Three, he didn't attack her. He was saying her leave him by himself. And then four, I guess him using his pepper spray is justifiable. I don't know what state this happened in. I don't have all the details, obviously, because for example, certain states, if you're carrying your firearm, even let's say you're doing concealed carry, just walking around, you have to retreat before you can pull out your firearm, right? Certain states is like you have to have like zero choice. Like there must have been a wall behind you. There's no doors accessible for you to exit, or you couldn't run away, and then you could pull out your firearms. Now, as far as pepper spray, that's a little bit different. Now, was he right? I don't know. You tell me by the comment section. I would have personally just changed seats, but then again, he's gonna give his back to her. She could have rolled up on him, do whatever. So it's questionable. You have to use your best judgment when you're defending yourself, guys.
Come up on me. I told you not to come up on me. I told you don't come up on me.
Oh, where you going? We gotta pull over. I told you, since you guys don't.
Oh, another thing. When it comes to using pepper spray in a closed off area like this, you have to be mindful of what type of pepper spray you're carrying. Do you have a stream type of pepper spray, or do you have the kind that's like a spray, like a hairspray, that anybody could breathe it in? If you have a stream or a gel type of, it's more concentrated in the sense that you're not gonna hurt many people around you anymore. You don't have the wind that's gonna blow, or a fan can blow the pepper spray to you, because next thing you're coughing and you're crying. So keep that in mind. You really need to know your defensive tools.
Yeah, I got the whole thing on video too.
I thought everybody knew drinking and smoking inside of McDonald's wasn't allowed. And
now, I like this particular video because so much happens in McDonald's, dealing with trespassers. So let's look into what we got and let's talk about it.
yet here we are.
I didn't touch you, but you did not touch me. Get your hand on my motherfucking face. Let's go. Get your hand on my motherfucking face and get back to work. Get your hand on my
Don't give your back to somebody who's screaming that's on your face like that. You want to do a strategic retreat or withdrawal where you're facing them. You have your hands in front of you, like, all right, that's it. It is what it is.
Hey, now.
Cross the line.
I didn't. You crossed the line. You crossed the line. You crossed the line. And I'm not. Cross the line. No, you crossed the line. You crossed. You crossed. What's up? What's up?
And I'm going to deal with this already. Cross the line.
No. What's up?
Cross the
What's up?
line.
No, Daddy, stop. I'm not playing with you. What's up?
All right?
You crossed the line.
I told you. You took the fucking drink and hit
Oh, no, you didn't tell me nothing.
That was the
You
end
told
of
me to leave. And you came over there and you interrupted me by my meal. You didn't ask me to stop smoking. You didn't ask me to stop drinking. You didn't ask me to You asked me to leave.
Did you
You didn't ask me to stop smoking.
You called the police?
You didn't.
All right?
Call the police. They're recorded. No, recorded. You never asked me to stop smoking. You never asked me to stop smoking.
Get the
You never asked me to stop smoking.
Yo, these fights in McDonald's are not worth it. It's not worth it for the client, customer, guest. It's not worth it for the staff member. So you guys really need to have a standard operational procedures when it comes to dealing or handling or working with. I think working with is better, right? Because now you're part of a team. You're part of the McDonald's team, even though they're guests. You got to find out how to work with trespassers, because there are passive trespassers. There are aggressive trespassers, right? As far as I can tell, this is just a loud trespasser. He's not really being violent, right?
You're not going to put my hands in my face. You're not going to touch me. And you're not going to touch me.
You get
And they're going to touch everybody.
You go. You got to his face first. Excuse me.
Which makes you go back. No, you go ahead. You go ahead. You go ahead.
I don't know why the I think somebody.
I don't know why. I don't get it. No. I just let them on. Don't let the pretty fool you. Don't let the pretty fool you.
Oh, we didn't know.
Yeah.
Okay.
What could have very easily
Yo, they were walking away. They were about to walk away. At some point, if you're doing security and you're dealing with trespassers, loud trespassers, if you know they're walking away, let them go. Don't add more conversation to the situation. You do not need to bring them back. Your goal is to get them out of the property in a way where it's safe for yourself, in a way it's safe for them. Because once you start putting hands, it gets really bad. All right, the next video we have about trespassing is another McDonald's situation. I think this is in England. I'm not sure. I think it's disgusting what happened here. This has happened recent. Let's switch it over. This one comes from The Guardian. This went viral. Yeah, this was 7 months ago in London. A McDonald's security guard has been filmed soaking a homeless man's belongings with a water from a mop bucket. Right? This is terrible. This was actually almost a year ago. This is December of last year. Damn, the time is flying, guys. It is flying. Let's get into this one. Not what I'm trying to do here.
Well, I'm allowed to film it. You know that. Wait, I'm allowed to film. And you're not allowed to stand here. You get a point. That's outrageous, Gray. You gotta admit that's outrageous, Gray. What are you doing? They give them hours there. So what? You're covering his sleeping bag. That's wrong. You know that. What are you doing? I don't give a shit about that. That is out of order.
Let's see what it says here. But bystanders argue with security guards in defense of the man. I would too. Even though I rock this hat, I would too, guys. We gotta hold each other accountable. That's what I do with this channel. I talk about heroic security guards that are doing the right thing, that defend themselves, and then I got to talk about the negative parts of these security guards, because you're the one that's out there. I understand there's policies and I understand there's frustration, but you're the one that's making the final decision when you're in your post, guys.
Bang out of order. That is bang out of order. Yeah.
McDonald's later confirmed that both security guards have been permanently removed.
Hey, yo. Why you like us in trouble?
Well, yeah, what do you mean why it's called trouble? He just covered his sleeping bag in water. It's like winter. No, mate. Don't give it. Doesn't matter. That is outrageous.
It is outrageous, and I'm gonna tell you why it's outrageous, guys. It's outrageous because it's the middle of winter. This was recorded in December of last year. This is assault, if you ask me. If I were to be a judge, if I were to be this guy's lawyer, I'd be like, yo, can you hear my kid? Gotta come back. So for me in general, this is kind of a death sentence. It's like hitting somebody for no reason because he's cold. He's gonna be freezing. If he's a homeless guy and this is his belongings, where is he gonna get himself dry? He cannot go into your establishment. Nobody wants him anywhere, right? Because he's kind of loitering. They can tell that he's probably a homeless person, but you wet him. He can freeze. He can get hypothermia. I really hope this guy sued that company. He sued McDonald's. He sued that security guard company, and he got back on his feet. Terrible business right there. Terrible. So what we got next. This one I think is going to be our last McDonald's situation. So we have here a fight going on in McDonald's, a brawl, and let's see what it says. Brawl breaks out after a security guard asks homeless to leave McDonald's. This was 7 years ago, so this is a very, very old one, but I think it's rich in information. Let's get into this, man.
On video, a nasty attack inside a Westside McDonald's. The fight broke out between a security guard and at least 2 homeless men.
Others jumped in, and the violence went on for several minutes. CBS 2's Elsa Ramon is live in Santa Monica with the bigger problem that the video is exposing. Elsa?
Yeah, a lot of the business owners, Rick and Susie, and the workers down here say they see this all the time. They weren't at all surprised to hear about this violent attack on the security guard. They say every single day is a struggle, and they watch the homeless people every day commit crimes and violence. It didn't take long for things to escalate. Once the security guard asked the 2 sleeping homeless men to leave the McDonald's on the corner of Colorado
So there were sleeping homeless men.
and 2nd in Santa Monica shortly before 4 this morning. The security guard tries to mace one of the alleged attackers while other customers jump in to help the guard. The fight spills onto the sidewalk but doesn't end there. It moves back inside where the guard continues to take punches until police arrive.
That happens all the time.
This Santa Monica Bike Center employee says she's not surprised. The bike shop is across the street from the McDonald's. She says most of the surrounding businesses have had their own struggles with violence and crime committed by homeless people.
My bag got stolen here before. People will walk up here, just try to steal bikes. I've seen 2 homeless people fight over a bag. They've knocked out all of our bikes.
Santa Monica PD says they ramp up patrols in this area every summer after the 4th of July to deal with the increase in tourists and homeless people. Mark Prague is homeless and admits the 24-hour McDonald's is a refuge from the streets in this area.
It's the only place everybody's got to come.
Jenny says this McDonald's needs to shut down overnight or the problems will continue.
It's unfair for the workers because I'm pretty sure they don't get paid enough to deal with that, especially for the security guards. It's not safe.
All right, so first of all, let's talk about the combatives. All right. This right here, this situation with the guard fighting, and this situation with the guard fighting 2 assailants at the same time, that's too much. That's way too much. Like I said this several times in this video, in this channel, fighting one person is very hard. It is very hard, especially if you're skilled and untrained and you're just security when you're on duty, but you're not security outside in the sense that you don't train, you don't work out, you don't do no combatives. Right here, this 1 and 2, you face the problem that's in front of you. You fight one at a time. You try to take people down as fast as possible. This looks like it could have been a pepper spray situation right here. Like I would have used pepper spray. And like I said before in this video, you gotta be careful what kind of spray you have. You have a gel, a stream, whatever. so you don't contaminate other people around you. But this here is terrible, right? Great for the. I feel happy that the guard had backup from the customers. I think that's important, right? Because they understand we need this place to be open 24 hours. We need access to food because we're working here, and we need to protect the guard who's protecting us. So there's some kind of community there. So I cannot blame everything on the guard. However, this time, if you have customers helping out security, they probably know the guard. They probably understand the value of them being there, and they want to make sure they don't leave, because if the guard's not there, then who's going to protect the clients, right? The guests.
It didn't take long for things to escalate. Once the security guard asked,
You want to be, was he trying to bite him? I don't know. You want to be careful with also homeless people, because some of them don't bathe. Some of them have ticks and fleas or whatever. Some of them have needles on their pockets, and then you try to touch them or push them, and then you get stung in the hand. It's something that happens to law enforcement when they're doing a search on somebody on the streets and they're checking their pockets. That's why they ask you, do you have any needles on you? When you see like they're interviewing the person that's under arrest, right? Trespassing should not escalate to this level. Again, we don't know what happened in the beginning of this at all. So let's get active into the next video. This one comes from me, actually. I made a video somewhere. Let's look for it. I made a video about trespassing. I deal with a passive trespasser. That means somebody that's willing to work with you, not somebody that's being violent. And this is just a basic, guys. This is just a basic right here. Let me see. Okay, we're streaming it. Sorry. So how to remove a compliant trespasser, SOP for building management and security.
How to remove trespassers from your property. Advancing Security's 8 simple step SOP for a compliant trespasser. First, make sure your company and clients want you to enforce trespassing removal in writing and have the laws on hand just in case you have two-sided. 2. Verify the area you're securing is owned or rented by your client. 3. Always get verbal confirmation from management before escorting anyone off-site. 4. Log the time and who you spoke to before enforcing any policies. 5. From afar, observe the trespasser's behavior and surroundings. Check for weapons, concealed items, or if they have company with them. 6. Call a trusted coworker to act as an eyewitness if possible. 7. Maintain a safe distance and use your flashlight to catch their attention. Aim for their waist or feet, not their eyes. Introduce yourself and the situation, then kindly ask them to leave. 8. Gauge their response and decide on your next steps, whether it's calling your supervisor or taking further action. Remember, be confident, take notes, use customer service skills, and trust your judgment. Keep advancing.
All right, guys, let's go into this step by step. I did this video right here about trespassing, just so there could be a basic outline of how to deal with trespassing for security, so companies can look at it and pass the video forward to the employees. Now, this is a pretty general thing, right? And from there, what you would do with this information I provided you guys, you would customize it for your particular post on how to deal with things. But what I want to do right now is talk about the why behind every one of these steps. So we saw the video once. Now we're going to go break it down into detail so that we can have more information. So I can provide you with more information.
How to remove trespassers from your property. Advancing Security's 8 simple step SOP for a compliant trespasser. First, make sure your company and clients want you to enforce trespassing removal in writing and have.
Why do you want to have that in writing? Because you got to cover yourself. You need to cover yourself, guys. Don't go around assuming that your client owns the property, that they know what's going on, that they want you to trespass somebody. Because when you're escorting somebody out of a building, there's problems with that sometimes. You don't know what kind of conditions they're in. You don't know what can possibly happen afterwards.
Have the laws on hand just in case you have two-sided.
Yeah, and having the law or having it memorized or having it like in some kind of laminated form in your pocket will allow you to sound more efficient. Will allow people around you to understand, okay, this guy's not a Joe Schmo security. He's not an average guard. He's somebody that knows his job well.
Verify the area you're securing is owned or rented by your client.
Guys, sometimes security guards are patrolling a particular area that's not owned by the client. For example, I saw a reaction the other day. What was it? It was somebody recording the migrants in New York within public space. I think it was Audit the Audit. I can't remember, but it's one of those good channels on YouTube that talk about laws and stuff like that. And pretty much the guard was telling the film to leave, that you cannot record in front of the building. And he was standing on the sidewalk in public property. The guard has no reason to be there in front of the building besides not understanding their job. And maybe the client says, yo, I need this guy to leave. But if you were real security and you understood, the laws, you'd be like, I cannot tell him to leave. I can ask him, but we cannot force him to leave public property. That's public property. I'm protecting this building. Once I leave the threshold of the building now, I'm no longer protected by you, the company, and by the agency that hired me. And now everything's on me. All liabilities on me. So you have to make sure they own the property or they renting the property.
3. Always get verbal confirmation from management before escorting anyone off-site.
Unless you're already management, you're a top tier guard, you've been working there for a while, and you have the utmost, what they say, they respect you, the client trusts you 100% and 10%. Do your best to not make moves on your own, like getting somebody to leave. You want to report it as soon as possible and get confirmation that they want you to escort this person out of the building, because now that's part of your job. That's part of your job to get this person out of the property. Now, if something were to happen to you where you have to count on workers' comp, you're injured, you're protected. Not only by the law, you're protected also by the state. You're protected by the company.
4. Log the time and who you spoke to before enforcing any policies.
You guys got to keep track of what you're going to do, because there's a lag, right? You're choosing when you're going to go towards this person and say you have to leave the building, you have to leave the area. You're deciding that at that moment. Take 30 seconds, write what you have to write down right there and then, and confirm, who told you that you have to get this person out of there. Because now there's another layer of protection for yourself as a guard.
5. From afar, observe the trespassers' behavior and surroundings. Check for weapons, concealed items, or if they have company.
So there's a legendary 21-foot rules for law enforcement, which is pretty much within 21 feet, a person with a knife can come at you, even though you still have a gun, and you can fire maybe in time. 21 feet, you could sprint that within 1.5 seconds to like 3 seconds. While you're fumbling and your adrenaline is pumping up and you're nervous, you're trying to get your gun out of your holster, right? So this is why I say from afar, you want to observe. You want to see if there's people around them. You want to see if they're holding anything in their hands. You want to observe if anything is poking out strangely from like under a baggy shirt. You want to observe before you approach them to optimize your safety.
With them. 6. Call a trusted coworker to act as an eyewitness if possible. 7.
You want this as much as possible. When you're about to trespass somebody, you want your teammate, you want to create staff members as teammate, fake like security, because you need an extra pair of eyes. Those extra pair of eyes can help you in court. Those extra pair of eyes can help you, depending where they are physically and mentally, if there's a fight breaks out. If they're not fighters but they're good observers, they can tell you, hey, you got a friend who's about to hit you from behind your back, or he's reaching for something, or she, whatever, right? An extra pair of eyes is going to help you. It's like when you have a boxing coach, you're in the middle of the ring, you can't see everything, right? But the coach is further away. They have broader view. They can see the entire picture.
Maintain a safe distance and use your flashlight to catch their attention. Aim for their waist or feet, not their eyes.
You do not want to aim for their eyes, guys, unless you're trying to escalate, which I don't recommend. You want to aim for their waist, for their feet, and the whole thing. The flashlight is an attention getter. I like how this guy's holding it here. It's very important because that allows you to react in a combat manner if you have to, right? You're trying to de-escalate, trying to catch their attention so you can approach them from a safe distance. The closer you get to them, the higher the risk is for you to be able to defend yourself.
Introduce yourself and the situation, then kindly ask them to leave. 8. Gauge their response and decide on your next steps, whether it's calling your supervisor or taking further action.
So last one is next step. What is that? Depending on the circumstances, it will lead to like physically removing them or calling the cops. But you have to really look at them. Are they drunk? Are the words slurring as they speak to you, or they respond to your commands or the information you're providing them? Like, what's really going on there? All right, guys, now we're going to get into our top story. I show you all this so then we can get into the main bread and butter of the show, right? Because it's sad when people die, and this is a security guard channel. We want to avoid people passing away because of our name.
Medical examiner ruling the death of Devontae Mitchell a homicide. An autopsy report determining he died by restraint asphyxia and the toxic effects of cocaine and methamphetamine. Disturbing surveillance video newly released by Mitchell's attorneys showing the moments leading up to the 43-year-old's death at the Hyatt Regency Milwaukee Hotel in June. Mitchell's family believes he was having a mental health episode when he showed up to the hotel frantic and panting, according to officials. That surveillance video capturing Mitchell running into the gift shop and eventually into the women's bathroom. The situation escalating as hotel security confront Mitchell and then begin to escort him out. One hotel employee punching him, a guest also jumping in and beating him. Mitchell then dragged out of the hotel doors. Here, Mitchell's attorney says you can see an employee striking Mitchell with a broom before security guard starts punching him again. Once dragged outside the hotel, Mitchell held face down, crying out for help, kept in that position for 8 minutes before first responders arrived and pronounced him dead.
So when you hear people say, oh, all we did was hold him down, oh, all I did was do what I was being told, none of that is true. They slammed his head into the ground multiple times, pressed his head into the ground.
And the DA is reviewing requests to bring about charges in connection to this incident. The hotel says the employees involved in this have been terminated.
And they should bring all charges to those guards and the staff member and that customer, that guest, that client, whatever, right? Guys, this was disgusting. This is really disgusting. This is disturbing, right? This video, when you look into what really is going on here, you got to think about mob mentality. You got to think about the lack of training security has to deal with mental illness. Cops get a little bit of training. Security get nothing of training unless you've worked in a shelter, unless you have family members or friends that suffer from mental illness. You won't be aware of this unless you've worked maybe also in I want to say in the bars or in the nightclubs, right? You tend to see alcoholics, you tend to see people that are high, so you gain a different perspective, you get different experience as far as people who are not all the right up there.
The Milwaukee County medical examiner ruling the death of Devontae Mitchell a homicide. An autopsy report determining he died by restraint asphyxia and the toxic effects of cocaine and meth.
Guys, oh my God. So when you go hands-on on somebody, you don't know if they have a pacemaker. You don't know what kind of medical conditions they have. You don't know if they have a bag in their guts. And then you get in front of their faces thinking you're doing your job correctly, that you're going to fight them, and then it's even worse, and then you delete them by accident. I'm sure their intention at the moment wasn't to kill anybody, but that's what wind up happening because of lack of training.
Methamphetamine, disturbing surveillance video newly released by Mitchell's attorney.
1, 2, 3. There is no point for that. All right. What I would have done, and I know hindsight is 20/20. What I would have done is create a perimeter around this guy and make sure that no guest is getting near him. That's it. I would try to do my best to isolate this particular situation so nobody gets disturbed by this, nobody gets hurt. And then this guy is just jacking up his knuckles, hitting him in the skull like that. Like, this is ridiculous.
Attorneys showing the moments leading up to the 43-year-old's death at the Hyatt Regency.
Look. And you have how many people hitting him? This one guy here? What are you doing, buddy? I would have removed these guys. Like get them out of there. Get them away from that.
Milwaukee hotel in June. Mitchell's family.
Where's their pepper spray? So you telling me you're gonna go hands-on with people, but you don't have no alternative equipment for self-defense? If you're willing to punch somebody on duty, you should be willing to carry pepper spray. If you're willing to body slam somebody while you're doing security, you should be willing to carry also a taser.
Family believes he was having a mental health episode when he showed up to the hotel frantic and panting, according to officials. That surveillance video capturing Mitchell running into the gift shop and eventually into the women's bathroom. The situation escalating as hotel security confront Mitchell and then begin to escort him out. One hotel
security, you should have controlled not just the person here, but tell this guy here on the right, just watch behind me. Just make sure there's nobody else coming here. If they really want to help and you have no control over this individual here who's a guest of the hotel, you need to control what you can control. And this guy has more sound and reason than the guy who's high out of his mind having a panic attack. Control what you can control.
Employee punching him. A guest also jumping in and beating him.
No.
Mitchell then dragged out of the hotel doors. Here, Mitchell's attorney says you can see an employee striking Mitchell with a broom.
What is up with that? Again, you're willing to hit somebody with a broom, but you're not carrying any restraints, any self-defense equipment. Oh my God.
Before security guard starts punching him again. Once dragged outside the hotel, Mitchell held face down, crying out for help, kept in that position for 8 minutes before first responders
8 minutes
arrived and pronounced him dead.
So when you hear people say, oh, all we did was hold him down, oh, all I did was do what I was being told, none of that is true. They slammed his head into the ground multiple times, pressed his head into the ground.
And the DA is reviewing requests to bring about charges in connection to this incident. The hotel says the employees involved in this have been terminated for violating company policy.
This didn't happen years ago. This is recent, guys.
This was murder. Put it up full mass. Milwaukee police, who did not arrest those men initially, have now referred murder charges for the 4 individuals involved in the death of Mr. Devontae Mitchell, an unarmed black man who died after being restrained by hotel security guards on June 30th. The Milwaukee County DA will decide whether to bring or decline the indictments. According to Fox 6, this should not be complicated. The referrals came hours after it was announced that Hyatt Regency employees involved in Mitchell's death were fired, after the company that manages the hotel reviewed surveillance video. The company did not disclose how many employees were in fact terminated. In an email to the Associated Press, a spokesperson for Aimbridge Hospitality said, quote, the conduct we saw from several associates on June 30th violated our policies and procedures and does not reflect our values as an organization.
You know what? A lot of people talk that this violates this and that, but did you train your staff members on those situations? Did building management understand that this could possibly happen? No. There's not enough safety training and also trespassing training everywhere. You hire security and they're supposed to, know this stuff, but we don't. They don't. The reason I have this channel is to educate, is so that we can make a change, guys. We have to be the change. We have to change the security guard industry. We have to change the standards. Security is not sitting. It's not just sitting and just staying there passively. Sometimes you got to get active. You got to get involved. And this would have been a good situation for security to be properly trained and to take control of the situation and show their value and their worth within this company and within society.
Or the behaviors we expect from our associates. Following review of their actions, their employment has been terminated. We will continue our independent investigation and do everything we can to support law enforcement with their investigation into this tragic incident. The hotel effected a discipline before law enforcement did. So once the hotel affected the maximum of their discipline, all they can do is really fire, maybe recommend charges or press charges because it did happen on their property. But after they fire the 4 men that we clearly saw kill somebody, hours later, the police then make a move in order to refer charges. Let me give you a recap. So on June 30th, if you remember June 30th, Mr. Mitchell, Devontae Mitchell, was at the downtown Hyatt Regency in Milwaukee. Authorities escorted him out of the hotel, claiming he, quote, caused a disturbance, according to CNN. A video, which was posted to social media, shows 4 security guards pinning Mr. Mitchell to the ground while the black man...
This is why I also say, man, you know how hard it is to fight just one guy? And if you just have some training, you just put some hours in the gym, in the dojos, in the mixed martial arts school, a couple hours a month, a couple hours a year, you could have had the skills to restrain this person without hitting them so many times. On top of that, if you would have some medical training, then you would have been able to recognize the signs of this individual, how they're acting irrational, how they're not paying attention to orders or commands or suggestions, how they just all over the place. Now, I don't know how this guy was acting at the moment. You know, Mitchell, we weren't there. We can only see so much from the CCTVs. But I tell you what, if security was really valued, if they were really trained, the likelihood of this happening would greatly decrease.
Pleads with the guards, saying, quote, please, and I'm sorry. One of the guards, who appears to be white in the video, can be heard saying, quote, stay down and stop fighting, as the others, who appear to be people of color, hold Mitchell down. So the same guard is heard calling out to witnesses, quote, this is what happens when you go into the ladies' room, end quote. It's unclear what led up to Mitchell's encounter with the security guards, how long it took police officers to arrive on the scene, and what Mitchell was doing at the hotel. And one of the nuances we talked about in the initial reporting was this. Sometimes if you have to go to the restroom and the men's restroom is occupied, people have gone into a ladies' restroom. They do it at bars, restaurants, hotels.
Yeah, man. There's sometimes where the restroom is being fixed, or you just have a 15-minute break and you got to go back to your shift and the janitor's there. You can't go in because of policies, you might get hurt. You'll just jump into the stalls. Women have gone into the men's stalls as well. That's why also a lot of companies, a lot of establishments have unisex bathrooms, and they're starting to remove those stalls so that if you do have to use a restroom, you know, you're not using a toilet next to another toilet where it might be the opposite gender.
Yeah, it does happen. We don't know if he was having a mental health issue. You know why? Because he's dead. He doesn't have an opportunity to face those who committed this crime against him. Maybe we never find out the truth because we are left with other people to tell his story. There's more. By the time the police arrived to the scene, Mr. Mitchell was completely unresponsive. He was pronounced dead. That's according to the Milwaukee police. The county medical examiner's office initially ruled Mitchell's death as a homicide, but the final manner is yet to be determined. Quote, the cause and manner of death is pending toxicology and further investigation. That's according to the medical examiner's office. Quote, we do not have a timeline for when this case will be finalized. The Mitchell family, they have hired our dear brother, Attorney Benjamin Crump. Obviously, the family is traumatized.
Guys, I'm gonna leave it at that at this moment. There's a lot of videos, a lot more stuff, but you know, let's leave it there, guys. Take care, so love you. So if you found value in this type of content, press like, leave a comment down below saying thank you, gracias.